Let's say you're trying to run a background check, maybe trace some family genealogy, or even prep for an upcoming legal case. You might think you've got to pay these hefty fees, or worse, spend hours waiting in line at the courthouse just to get the documents you need. Well, I've got some great news for you. You absolutely don't. Let's dive straight into this explainer and unlock the exact step-by-step process you need to confidently navigate Brazoria County's local government databases. And the best part? It is completely free of charge. We're going to turn you into a public records pro in no time. Seriously, whether you're deep into legal prep or honestly just satisfying a bit of curiosity, understanding how to bypass all those bureaucratic hurdles is incredibly empowering. Because as you're going to see, the system is actually designed for you to use it. You really just need to know which digital doors to open. And like I said, we're focusing entirely on methods that will not cost you a single dime to search. So here's our agenda for today. First, a quick court records overview. 2, preparing for your search. 3, navigating the official websites. 4, conducting a search. 5, interpreting results and tips. And finally, 6, ethics and important disclaimers. All right, let's jump into Section 1, Court Records Overview, Understanding the System. So, what exactly are we looking at here? By definition, court records are the official documents detailing legal proceedings. That's everything from civil and family disputes to criminal charges and probate matters. Now, the public generally has a fundamental right to access these files. Transparency is key, right? But keep in mind, while we do have this right, sensitive information might sometimes be legally restricted by statutory exception. That basically just means certain private details are redacted before you ever lay eyes on them. Now here is a crucial point. You have to know the jurisdictional architecture. Trust me, it saves you hours of searching in the wrong database. In Brazoria County, responsibilities are split up. The county clerk generally handles things like misdemeanors, probate, and marriage records. On the flip side, the district clerk is responsible for the heavier matters. Think felony records, family law, and divorces. Knowing exactly which clerk handles the record you need tells you exactly which digital bucket you need to be looking at. Moving right along to Section 2, preparing for your search, gathering the clues. Okay, before you even open a web browser, you need to play detective for a minute. Having a few details prepared in advance will drastically streamline your search process and honestly help filter out a ton of irrelevant results. At the absolute minimum, you need the correct spelling of the person's first and last name. But if you can gather secondary data, like an exact cause number, an approximate date of a hearing, or the specific type of case, you are going to find what you're looking for in seconds rather than hours. It's also super important to manage expectations here. When we say free, we mean the search itself, accessing the case indexes, seeing the chronological docket events, and checking out hearing schedules. That costs absolutely nothing. However, if you want to download a physical copy of the actual court document, print it out, or get a certified file with that official seal on it, statutory fees do apply. That's usually around $1 a page. So, for simple tracking and research, your wallet stays safely in your pocket. Let's get into the practical stuff. Section 3, navigating the official websites, the Odyssey portal. This right here is the workhorse of Brazoria County's online system. Step 1 is getting yourself to the cloud-based Odyssey portal. Once you're there, for Step 2, you'll see a drop-down menu. You can either select a specific justice of the peace location, or, if you're not sure, just leave it on all courts for a nice, broad search. Finally, in Step 3, just click on your specific case category like criminal or civil. By following this exact sequence, you completely bypass those manual, queue-based requests that typically carry a $5 administrative search fee if you were to call the clerk's office directly. Pretty great, right? Which brings us to Section 4. Conducting a search, best practices. Okay, pay close attention here because this is probably the single most important technical tip in this entire explainer. Are you ready? If you are searching by a case number, you must always add an asterisk at the end of the number. Seriously, always. This little insider secret acts as a wild card in the system. It ensures you don't miss a file just because of some minor formatting quirk or, an invisible trailing space sitting in the database. Let's look at the actual flow with this. First, enter your primary criteria, which is usually the name. Then, if you have the case number, drop it in with that asterisk wildcard we just talked about. And finally, utilize the date ranges and case type filters. You guys, these filters are incredibly effective at refining your search. Think about it. If you're searching for a really common name like John Smith in Brazoria County, setting a date range of just the last 5 years is going to save you from scrolling through hundreds of totally unrelated traffic tickets. All right, Section 5, interpreting results and tips. Decoding the evidence. Finding the record is great, but now we have to translate the legal jargon into plain English. When you pull up a record, you're going to see these terms constantly. The cause number? That is just the unique tracking ID for that specific lawsuit or charge. The docket is simply a chronological schedule or summary of everything that's happened in the case so far. Then there's the disposition. That's the finale. It's the court's final determination, meaning words like guilty, dismissed, or settled. And the hearing date is pretty literal. It's when people actually have to go and stand in front of the judge. Understanding these terms lets you quickly skim a case summary and grasp exactly where the litigation currently stands.
But hey, what happens if you hit search and absolutely nothing comes up? First off, don't panic. If your initial query comes up empty, it's totally fine, because there are auxiliary tracking engines we can pivot to. Honestly, this happens all the time. Often it's just because a case hasn't been formally filed by the district attorney yet, or maybe it's sitting in a completely different system.
So if you can't find a local court record, your next move is step 1. Check the Odyssey Jail Access Portal. This one is administered by the Sheriff's Department, and it shows real-time booking histories, arresting agencies, and active bond requirements. Basically, if they were arrested, they're going to be here. Step 2 is to zoom out. Utilize the statewide Research TX portal. These secondary databases are fantastic tools for locating the exact cause numbers you need so you can eventually pull the full local records. Speaking of Research TX, it's really worth taking a quick second to look at how this incredible tool came to be. It represents this massive statewide push for digital transparency that finally brought these tools to the public. It started with mandates way back in 2012, then all 254 counties went live in 2015, and finally, access was expanded to registered users by 2018. It is basically the Texas equivalent of the federal PACER system, and let me tell you, it is a total goldmine for researchers.
Finally, we arrive at Section 6, Ethics and Important Disclaimers. Your responsibilities.
The Texas Supreme Court actually noted that e-access provides greater transparency for the justice system, which ultimately strengthens public trust. But, and this is a big but, while transparency is a constitutional right, the system employs software to automatically redact sensitive personal data. We're talking things like social security numbers or details involving minors, mostly to prevent unauthorized data mining. So yes, you have a right to the information, but you also have a responsibility to respect the privacy safeguards built into the system.
Let's just run through this final checklist really quick to ensure you're operating correctly. First, this explainer is strictly for educational purposes. Remember that database procedures and specific portal URLs can and honestly do change, so always verify your findings directly with the official Brazoria County clerk or district clerk offices. And most importantly, this information does not constitute formal legal advice. If you're dealing with a serious legal matter, please always consult a qualified legal professional. Well, we have covered a ton of ground today, from understanding which clerk holds which record, to mastering that all-important asterisk wildcard, all the way to decoding those tricky legal dockets. Armed with these techniques and a healthy respect for the digital architecture, you are now fully equipped to start your own free investigation right now. So I'm going to leave you with this. What hidden history or crucial evidence is quietly waiting in your county's digital vaults for you to uncover? Log on to the Brazoria County portals today, try it out, and find out for yourself. Happy searching!